Understanding basic money concepts are really the financial foundations when it comes to knowing financial literacy, which way your life is going, and which direction you're going to be having. Now, this starts all the way from elementary school, all the way through retirement. The more that you know and the more that you understand about financial literacy can really change your entire life and also change the life of your children, even your grandchildren. So, today we're going to be breaking down the basic money concepts. Now, again, a lot of these are taught at a much younger age. However, there's a majority of Americans that do not receive these at all when you're in elementary, middle, and high school. There is no financial literacy programs in a majority of states, meaning they have no exposure. Then you get into the working years, you get into the college years. Again, there's no basic underlying concept of money. For a majority of people, if you're not taught by your parents, you do not receive anything at all, even when it comes to the basic building blocks. The first one we look at is the wants versus the needs. Again, this is a part where fundamentally this is elementary school level, looking at the things that you need and the things that you want, putting them in two buckets and clearly defining both of those. When it comes to needs, what are the things you actually need to survive, to sustain life, to stay on this planet? Food, shelter, clothing, transportation. Those are some of the very, very basic needs. Now, of course, a lot of people do justify or blend the lines between a need and a want. Do you need a cell phone? It's a convenience item. Do you really need it? Absolutely not. Do you need the internet? Possibly for maybe a job, but is there another way that you could actually go out and access the internet or have access to a lot of things in your life? Is it a need? Again, is it a thing that without it, this is really the game changing part. Without the item, without that need, you would no longer be here. Very, very clear definition when it comes to needs and wants. Now, wants and needs can be very subjective. Again, this is really going to be your personal preference because not only the needs and wants when it comes to life, but it also comes down to a quality of life. For instance, you want a cell phone. Does that mean you need a brand new cell phone that is $1,500? Could you maintain with the one that you have? Could you even get a cheaper version? Could you do the same with plans? This again goes back to the fundamental basic building blocks of what exactly you need and what can you sustain life without needing. Now, of course, that goes right over into the spending aspect. Creating a workable spending plan for an individual is how we do our budgeting, sitting down, going over through the financial counseling sessions, looking at current expenses. What are your obligations? What are your income? What other variations do you have when it comes to a financial plan? Because this can make a really good, solid budget. Now, this might not be tracking every single penny that comes in and goes out, but a spending plan so you know exactly kind of where it is headed. And this can be adjusted based on life events that could be happening, could be short-term and long-term goals that you want to achieve. The spending plan is, again, going to be kind of a fluid item. It can be a budget. You can call it a spending plan, kind of vice versa, but a way to track the money coming in, the money going out, and seeing at the end of the month exactly where you have anything left, if you have anything left. Because of course, this is a gateway right to the saving and investing. Now, again, thinking of short-term and long-term savings goals and investing goals really depends on the capacity that an individual has. When you think of the savings, the spending, the investing, we're now looking at kind of the high school, the middle school, going into the high school years, possibly even early college years. When you start getting a paycheck, what does it look like to save money? Or even if you're in your working years, how much are you saving? How much are you investing? Now, this, of course, is going to vary greatly from individuals. You could have somebody who's saving $5 or $10 a month to someone who is saving, $3,000 to $4,000 a month, depending on their income. Now, the discipline here is really getting that emergency fund built, getting it fully funded, and making sure that you have enough money set aside for unplanned life events, because as we all know, they will happen. Might not be today, might not be next week, next year, but they will happen. There will be a point in time where you do have to fall back onto some money that you have saved, making sure that you also do have the ability to cover those unexpected expenses if they should arise. Now, on the investment side, now, even though I am a certified financial counselor, I am not an investment advisor. So looking at just common knowledge and knowledge that I have seen, looking to your IRA products and your Roth IRA products, your Roth 401k products, even looking at HSA accounts, a lot of different ways to invest. And with those come a multitude of layers with investing, the diversification, making sure that you don't have everything all together, and also investing in a lot of things to really get some tax diversification or even lower your tax liability, like the HSA accounts, where the Roth, both the IRA Roth and the IRA, or excuse me, the IRA Roth and the 401k Roth are going to not help you with taxes. But again, they are the best bet because you are going to have tax-free growth in the future. Now, we also talk about donating. Again, thinking of the high school, thinking of the college years, donating, and a lot of people that cannot donate money, monetary, time. Time is a huge factor for mental health, contributing to society, contributing to your community. There can also be some income tax benefits depending on what you do. Definitely check that out, guys. And then we get into the borrowing aspect. Borrowing, of course, when you start getting, again, gainful employment, when you're in high school, when you're going into college, there's going to be a point where people are looking to obtain loans, when you're looking to purchase a home, when you're looking to get a car. This is where a lot of things you have to keep the big picture mindset. A lot of people are really focused on what can I avoid? What does the dollar look like? So if I'm making $2,000 a month and my rent is $1,000 a month, 50% of my income is dedicated to rent, and you have to think about it with the entire picture. This is where I feel a lot of people are really missing, or not being realistic when it comes to the budget. Because if you're renting, there's other things that come with it short of the rent being 50% of the income. When you look at renter's insurance, when you look at electricity, do you need heat? Do you need water? What else is going to account for now your housing, your 50% income that is going to the housing could now be 54, 56, 58% when you start putting everything in there, which means the housing budget is way out of whack for what you make. You're going to have to look for a cheaper place, cut some expenses. And you also have to do this with everything. If you're looking to purchase a home, remember the mortgage calculators will do your payment, but you have to think of homeowners insurance, property taxes, association dues, maintenance, utilities, security. If you got a home security system, how are you going to pay for all of that? This also rings true when it comes to a car, not only looking at what you can afford for a payment, but also does the payment or does that budget include the insurance you got to cover for the car, and also the price of the insurance as well. Thinking and looking at the big picture makes a big difference when you look at the budget, because again, you might have someone that is budgeting $500 for a car, not realizing that insurance is going to be $200 for said vehicle, meaning their total car budget needs to be $700, which means possibly looking at the budget, you'd have to find a much cheaper alternative to the car that you're looking for, to the transportation, if it does not work in the budget. And that is really one of the caveats, guys, is if it doesn't work in the budget, it's not going to work in the short term, in the long term. It's not going to work if it doesn't fit in the budget, if it doesn't fit into the spending plan, meaning that over time, you're going to get overwhelmed. As soon as something does happen, all of the dominoes are going to fall and you're going to lose essentially whatever you had, or be scrounging or borrowing or doing whatever you need to get it done. Now, one very strong tip of advice, if you're looking to personally lend, so if you're lending someone money, the desire to keep that relationship intact is going to be around you knowing they're not going to pay you back. Always go into the beginning, if you're giving money, knowing that you're not going to get paid back. If you do get paid back, definitely well worth it, but don't have the expectation of getting paid back. Now, in addition to the lending aspect, we get into the credit. So positive credit history will make your payments a lot more flexible and a lot more affordable, and a lot more likely that you're going to get approved for that loan, which means people with lower credit scores or damaged credit, you have to make sure that you're working on your credit score, taking care of some of those collections, because of course you're going to get a much higher rate. The higher rate is going to go hand in hand with a higher payment, meaning that a lot more of your money is going towards interest every single month, and the probability of you making sure they're kind of basing your score and your rate on the determining factor of, are you going to pay back this loan in its entirety, and the risk relationship that it does have. Now, in addition, when you think of your credit score, insurance companies use credit scores to determine their premiums now. When you look at job applications, most of them do pull credit. So getting a good score, keeping a good score is going to be a game changer for your entire life. Now, again, when you think of credit scores, they use them for a ton of things, even outside the lending aspect. If you're looking for an apartment, They're going to pull your credit. If you're looking to get a mortgage, going to be credit based. There's a lot of things out there that you really have to look at. And the final one we look at is minimizing the risk. This, of course, you want to keep and you want to maintain any of the assets that you're accumulating. This means really the education piece on insurance. When you think of monitoring your savings accounts, monitoring your investments accounts, having insurance for your property, insurance for your car, life insurance, to keep and plan for unexpected emergencies, having some sort of insurance is going to make a big difference. But also thinking personally what you owe. This could be wills, trusts, relationship documents, savings accounts, insurance, anything that is going to be not only eligible or that people want to get the information, scamsters, identity theft. You have to make sure that you minimize the risk on every single avenue. We see an incredible amount of fraud that is going on right now in the banking institution, which is kind of crazy, but making sure you keep all of your information safe. And number one, never give your information out to anyone really over the phone that you don't know who they are. If it is not someone that you contacted, so if somebody actually reaches out to you or someone goes to contact you, we have seen everything from people getting calls for collection scams saying, hey, you owe for Xfinity merchandise, you owe for this, you owe for that, and people paying them over the phone. As soon as they do pay them over the phone, all of their information is compromised, all of the information is gone. So definitely take some precautions, minimize the risk that you have with everything from investing to life to making sure that fraudsters don't get any of your information. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.